We now come to the second of the set of 6 mitzvot, for which one is ochel perotehim ba'olam hazeh, but that does not detract from the keren that is allocated as a reward in olam haba. The second of the 6 is the mitzvah of Hachnassat OrChim, a mitzvah that is primarily bein adam lechavero, as opposed to the man-God mitzvot, Shabbat, Kashrut, etc., and comes as part of a subset of Gemilut Chasadim. The tefillah component is based upon a statement in Masechet Shabbat attributed to Rabbi Yochanan, and in his list, Hachnassat OrChim is the first item in that list. Hachnassat OrChim is generally translated as hospitality, a word that means different things to different people. Hachnassat, with a shorish of chaf nun samach. Chaf nun samach translates to gather, to collect, to assemble, as in a bet knesset, to bring in, to take in, and in this context, bringing in and taking in would be the translation of choice. OrChim is the noun, built upon an Aleph Reish Chet Shoresh. Aleph Reish Chet translates as to lodge, to accommodate, to receive and entertain a guest, to journey or go through from place to place, as opposed to one who was settled in a particular location. In earlier days, pre-airplane travel, pre-automobile travel, most movement from city to city was undertaken by horseback and walking. This generally involved an element of danger, because people who undertook a journey to a faraway city did so to cultivate business. That involved payment, which involved carrying large sums of money. There was an exposure to robbery, hence we have the custom of reciting Tfilat HaDerech. In this situation, the oreach is somebody who is journeying through, somebody who requires a place to spend the night, in other words, accommodation. So that Hachnassat OrChim reflects the mitzvah to extend it to people who are traveling from place to place, to provide them with some form of shelter and food. Nowadays, we have hotels, we have cars, we have airplanes, and it is generally rare to find people who are in need of accommodation and food. Hence, Hachnassat OrChim, in its modern day format, would be the exercise of receiving and entertaining guests. In general, this is done on Shabbat and the Chagim, and in most from Orthodox communities of today, having guests over for Shabbat or Yom Tov is a critical component of the social structure of the community. Whether these social events could be classed as Hachnassat OrChim is an interesting question that requires further exploration. Rabbi Daniel Feldman has produced a scholarly essay charting how the mitzvah of Hachnassat OrChim has evolved throughout the centuries. The essay is titled My House is Your House, the Mitzvah of Hachnassat OrChim, and in it he quotes from a source that identifies 5 separate themes of chesed contained in this subgroup of Hachnassat OrChim. 1. Providing a resting place for those weary with the burdens of travel. 2. Providing food and drink to those who have become weakened by their lack of these resources. 3. Saving travelers from the shame and embarrassment of having to knock on people's doors seeking lodging or having to camp out in the open air. 4. The opportunity to perform acts of kindness to someone who, for whatever reason, has not received kindness from within the community. And finally, it provides an opportunity to impact upon a visitor spiritually as well as physically. Nowadays, we call this kiruv. Accordingly, the Koran's translation for Hachnassat OrChim, hospitality to strangers, would meet the test, as would Rabbi Dr. Eli Monk in the world of prayer. Hospitality to wayfarers would also meet the test for Hachnassat OrChim. Dr. Mindel's translation, hospitality to visitors, may or may not meet the test of Hachnassat OrChim, depending how one interprets and defines visitors. And similarly, the RCA, Siddu's translation of hospitality to guests, once again, depending how one defines the term guests, may or may not meet the test of Hachnassat OrChim. Worth pointing out is the fact that while we treat Hachnassat OrChim as a mitzvah, the mitzvah of Hachnassat OrChim, there is no clear-cut commandment in the Torah that you are obligated to bring people into your home, feed them, and provide them with accommodation. As noted previously, Hachnassat OrChim is part of a subgroup of Gemilut Chasadim, and the emphasis of this mitzvah is drawn from the modeling of Avraham Avinu, as recorded in Sefer Bereshit. In Perek Yud Zayin of Sefer Bereshit, Avraham has undertaken the mitzvah of Brit Milah, and Perek 18 opens up with the statement that God communicates, makes an appearance to Avraham Avinu in Elonei Mamre. He happened to be sitting at the time outside the tent at the hottest time of the day. Lots of Midrashim read information into this pasuk, but at this point in time we'll stick to the Pshuta Shel Mikra. Sitting outside his tent, he sees Shlosha Anashim, 3 men, who are Nitzavim alav, and Vayaratz Likratam, he rushes out to meet them. Al na ta'avor mi alavdecha, please do not pass on from beside your servant. Come in. Yukach na ma'at mayim, please take a little water. Rachatzu raglechem, please bathe your feet. And v'hishanu tachat ha'etz, please rest, recline under the tree. Of course, as we and our children have learned in grade 2, and by the way, unfortunately, we never return to study the text in depth, ever, beyond Parshat HaShavua. These 3 Anashim were really Malachim, angels, sent by HaKadosh Baruch Hu on a series of missions, one of which was to inform him and his aging wife Sarah that a second child will be born into the family, and another mission, the destruction of the 5 cities of Sodom and surrounding area.